DeAndre was more productive offensively today than he had been the previous 2 games. Did you talk to him about being more assertive, or was it just a case of shots falling?
Yeah, I think both. We tried to put him in spots, you know, to be aggressive, and he had the right mindset. He saw one going early, but he was aggressive driving, and we have a couple different base offenses, and I think one of them we were working on is really beneficial to DeAndre, where you can get some, we call them lane line drives, some post ups, and you can work. You know, I think DeAndre's so good in the high posts. Like sometimes if you go back against Syracuse or some zones, when he gets it there, Miami, and he can make some plays. So trying to find a chance to get him the ball in those situations, whether man-to-man or zone, and then obviously he's continued to improve and played well today.
This team is averaging 77 points a game. You hold them to 40. What does it say? That
yeah, they. I thought we guarded well. Yeah, no, they. Nathan Knight really impressed me. He made some nice drives, scored in the post. He's a good player. They were 2 of 20 from 3. That system is really hard to guard. It's Princeton action, or I don't want to say for sure. I know Coach Chambers puts his own spin on it, and they're very well coached that way. But shooting is really important in that. When they're always spacing 5 out, 4 out, you have to be disciplined on their cuts, their backdoor cuts, their ball screen slips. And I thought we did a good job, especially in the second half. And we also took care of the basketball in the second half. We had 7 turnovers in the first half, 1 in the second, or 6 and 1, however that played out. But the live ball turnovers, they had 7 points in the first half on our turnovers. We didn't give them the ball, and that was a big part. And they did hit some tough shots even in the first half. So I didn't have much problem with the way we defended. And I think we made them work, and we contested most of their shots, and then they were a little off. So that has an impact on their offense. But, yeah, now the ability to hold a team like that under that number and shooting percentage is good.
Mike and David.
11-0, and I know you got one more non-conference coming up. But overall, how would you evaluate where you are and what you've gotten out of this year?
Yeah, I told the guys before the game, I said, you should feel good about yourselves. I said, not too good. I said, but good for what you've accomplished, how you've played up to this point, what you can be. But know, in saying that, you have to recommit to how it is every game, every time. And I ask them to play in a way defensively. It's demanding, it's challenging, and you know, and I said, I chose all of you, our staff chose all of you to come here, and you chose all of us to attend here, knowing how we were going to try to do it in the right way. And I said, so feel good about what you've accomplished and where we're going and how you do it. But that's my answer, long-winded, is I like what I've seen. We have improvement, certainly. Competition will continue to step up, and you know, we'll just keep knocking, as we like to say.
Tony, you've played your fair share of good post guys this year, Ethan Happ and Bruno Fernandez at Maryland.
The young man that, or actually it's not on there.
It's South Carolina.
So, yeah.
What did Knight do to get his today, and were you pleased? You said overall you were pleased with the way you guarded. Were you pleased with the way you guarded him?
I thought we didn't trap the post. They make it a little difficult because they got, you know, flanked with 4 shooters. So, and not that we couldn't have trapped him, but we said let's play one-on-one and see what happens. Made a couple tough post moves, but I thought his ability to drive and go one-on-one from the perimeter, whether we weren't ready in our stance and he beat us quick, that ability with his size and his length in the post but away from the hoop was impressive to me. So okay on him, maybe not great on-ball individual slides. That part, I think, you know, and we'll see guys like that certainly in the ACC and what's next. So that part, I think, you know, Mamadi and Jack he got caught off guard a little bit. I think one time he actually beat all 3 of our guys, Jay, Mamadi, and Jack, and then did some work in the post. But otherwise, I think we're good in the other areas.
Hank, then Brett.
Tony, I know you substituted pretty liberally early today, but when Ty went out of the game today, it seemed like the offense kind of stagnated.
It did, yeah.
Is that a concern?
Yeah, I think, you know, Kihei still, I thought he had a better second half. He's still he just isn't as comfortable with that. And Kyle can definitely play the point, had a careless turnover or 2. So I believe we're better than that. But no, I mean, Ty obviously he has a great feel for the game, and so does Kihei. Kihei is just a little limited, and I'm hoping he's going to get more comfortable, finishing, shooting, all those kinds of things. But that was a stretch where the turnovers came, and they cut it to 10 or 11, and that was the disappointing part because of that. And we talked about that at halftime. And, obviously we want those Ty on the floor as much as possible as long as he's playing the right way. And that showed for that stretch we were shaky.
Coach, it's kind of in your DNA to feel the rotation out as you go through non-conference. Yep. Where do you feel like you are right now with that group, and how comfortable are you going into, with league play right around the corner?
Yeah, I think, we've given guys chances. Some guys haven't gotten as many chances, but, I think we have a solid 7. I even said this. And then, 8 and 9 with Jay and Marco. Sometimes they don't get a ton of chances, but I try to give them chances at certain times. I think there'll be times they just have to keep staying ready. And it was great to see Frankie get out there and get some minutes. And Cody, he shows you some of those flashes offensively where he'll drive north and south. So it's probably still continuing to see what's going to be required by the matchups, how the game's going, whether it's 7 deep, 8 deep, 9 deep, kind of in there. And that's through practices and continuing to see opportunities in games, how guys perform.
Tony, sorry this one's random, but you're approaching 300 career wins. I talked to some of your former assistants, and they talked about how competitive you are away from the basketball court. They said going for a run, playing table tennis. Could you share any of the experiences you've had with your staff in terms of liking to compete with those guys?
Well, I tried to play noon-hour ball with Coach McKay and Coach Weidman. And back at Washington State, Coach Sanchez and I almost got into a fist fight, so we stopped that. And then I couldn't play anymore with Coach McKay. He kept changing the score, and Ronnie with Coach Weidman was calling cheap fouls, so I stopped playing. It's all their fault. It's not my fault, of course. No. Yeah, Eric wasn't here, so we had our time. But no, look, everybody who coaches, everybody who plays, everybody's so competitive, and I like to have fun with stuff, but I like to try to win to the best of my abilities within the rules sometimes, and sometimes not if it's there. But no, I'm talking about non-basketball stuff, of course. But no, like I said, I've had great staffs, and I didn't even realize that, to be honest, and it means I've been coaching a while, so obviously that shows.
Coach Mamadi's obviously been in the starting line with the past 2 games based on stuff with Clark, but also he's shown improvement.
He's done, yes.
16 points, 8 for 11 shooting just the last 2 games.
Oh, yeah.
What have you really liked out of Mamadi, and what has he shown in practice that has deserved this increased?
He stayed out of foul trouble. He simplified his game. I think he's being who Mamadi needs to be, and he's played well, and he's really working defensively on the glass. And it allows us, as I've said, we've got 7 guys that we could argue could be starters, and allows us at times to play certain teams big. This was a hard team to go big against, but I wanted to see, and I thought we were okay with it. But he, as I've said, is an important or an X-factor kind of guy, and I liked, as of late, what he did certainly in the last couple games.
What does it do for your comfort level to have a team that shoots free throws as well as this one does?
Yeah, no, that's important. We always try to shoot a lot of them and get work, but that, possession games, that stuff matters. So to see Dre knock him down, and yet last game everybody knocking him down, and Jack even holding the crowd from a Chick-fil-A, whatever, chicken sandwich, right? It's during the game, and the crowd was going wild at South Carolina. We were up pretty big. Jack missed his first free throw. And I asked Ronnie during the game, I said, what's going on? And he said, well, if you miss 2 free throws, what do they get? Free chicken sandwich. So Jack stepped up. I told you he was going to make a big free throw at a certain time, and that I don't know if our mini are bigger than that for the yeah, that's actually a nice, I think maybe we should get some kind of promotion like that. So
all right, we'll take the last one.
Your top 2 rebounders today were your guards, Ty and Kyle.
I didn't see Ty at
9 and 7. I know they're not going to do that every night, but is it important in your system to
guards have to rebound
like that?
It is, and even the way that William and Mary, because they're so spaced, even your 4 or your 5, that they have to come back and rebound. But absolutely, that's been an important part of how we like to play. And sometimes the bigs in this game, it wasn't as much have their hands full just blocking out. But Ty, Kyle, those guys, we've been working hard at our rebounding. That one rebound Kyle had and that putback, I don't know if he needed to show us his guns. But we've been working hard at that, and that actually showed up in that situation.